Hey everybody, this is GGB. Today we're going to be getting into bowl season. I don't know who else is hyped for bowl season. I always wait for bowl season all year long. And it's kind of like a happiness and a sadness for me. At the same time, I'm really happy to watch all these teams play in bowls, watch these kids' last games. It's really the end of the college football season for me, so I'm excited about it every year. But I'm also very sad because, again, it's the end of the college football season. And that means both the end of my favorite sport, watching my favorite sport on live television, and watch it, probably the end of really my great content. I really like doing college football games every year, and I like doing NFL games every year, and that normally comes to an end around this time. And that means I gotta start branching out into things that normally don't get as many views. I still think they're very solid content. You guys should watch those videos, like my college basketball ups the other day. If you like those sports prediction videos, I'm going to start doing Madden series more often. I'll do live streams of the draft and the March Madness selections. But this is really the end of the videos that get a whole bunch of views, which makes me really sad. This is the time of year that I get the most subscribers, so let's hope I get a couple subscribers on these videos. 11 o'clock, we got the Bahamas Bowl, which is Middle Tennessee State playing Toledo. Toledo favored by 10.5 points on ESPN. Middle Tennessee is not a Conference USA team that I have heard a lot about. To be fair, they are only 6-6. And it's like, I found it really interesting that they got to 6-6 simply because I don't remember ever hearing about them. And I always try to listen to about almost every college football team. Like, I know what Middle Tennessee State is, but I hadn't been following them all year long, so I hadn't thought they were going to be a bowl game team this year. Conference USA has teams that everyone probably knows about by this point. You have teams like, obviously, UTSA that popped up on the scene this year. UAB is consistently in that conversation, as well as Western Kentucky. Those are the three teams that the Conference USA is most known for. And then there's obviously the new riser this year. Old Dominion was a very interesting story with them starting at the season 1-6 and winning their last 5 to get to bowl eligibility. It's a really interesting story under Ricky Ronnie. And then I think also UTEP. UTEP's also a fascinating story about a team that was really bad last year and has been really bad for a long time, finally starting to win again and getting bowl eligible. It's really interesting. North Texas is another interesting one where they won a lot to get to where they ended up being. But Middle Tennessee State is normally it's kind of the forgotten bowl eligible Conference USA team. But I don't think it should. They played some pretty good football this year. After hearing of them being bowl eligible, I was like, really? And I went back and I watched some of their highlights, and they looked like a pretty competent football team. Mike DeIlio against, I think, Florida Atlantic was their last game. He went 12-19, threw for 131 yards, 1 touchdown through the air, 1 touchdown on the ground. Martel Petaway, their running back, had 5 carries for 75 yards, and Yusuf Ali had 5 catches for 95 yards. Toledo, Daquan Finn went 16 of 26, 257 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Bryant Kovac had 15 carries for 135 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground. And Matt Landers had 5 catches for 57 yards. The interesting thing about Toledo is the last time I talked about Toledo, I was hating on Toledo. I don't know if you guys remember this. The last time I was talking about Toledo, I'll link it in the description below. It was the Toledo-Notre Dame game. I don't know if you remember that one, guys. It was about week 2, I think, and it was like, Toledo has no chance in this game, right? It's Toledo going against Notre Dame. I understand Notre Dame had problems against Florida State, but it's still Toledo, guys. Man, was I wrong. Toledo gave them a serious game, gave them about a heart attack, and honestly had a chance to win that game. That was insane to me. Obviously, Toledo's season didn't go great after that. They only ended up with a 7-5 record, but one of those losses did come to Notre Dame, and it was a close one. So I'll give Toledo credit for that. Toledo's an interesting football team. Because no one really followed them until they almost beat Notre Dame. And then I kind of started following them again. Obviously, I didn't do any prediction videos for Toledo after that because they were eliminated from playoff contention. Obviously, didn't win the MAC. That would go to the team I'm going to talk about in the next video. But Toledo's a really good football team this year. They really are. They almost beat Notre Dame. They were competitive in the MAC. I mean, like, there's a lot of bright sides if you're Toledo. They played a really good season. There's a reason why they're favored 10.5 points. And I gotta say, I think Toledo's a much better football team than Middle Tennessee State. And I just gotta go with Toledo here on ESPN.